You'll see that in this paragraph, the student relies heavily on two resources. This is okay. They're constantly, reinforcing these two resources. They also introduce a third resource afterwards. Now, what I guess we want to be thinking about is when we see these sources, we have the name of the person. So that could be the author, or it could be the interviewee, or it could be the survey. We introduce them. We explain their relevance to the topic. So they were someone who was in the Defence Force. This is really important for credibility. And then we have what they say. Now, sometimes it's paraphrased and it's just written. Sometimes it's quoted. You want to do a mix of both. That's really important. You'll also notice that at the end of the paragraph, they've linked it together to say, all right, all together, my paragraph proves you need to have muscular endurance and cardiovascular strength to be able to actually get into the Defence Force. So this is where your summary table became so important, because when we're writing, I'll just pick a random example from, I'm not even sure whose this is. So when we're writing, we've got our focus question, we've got what you're going to be saying, and then we've got your two sources that are going to be supporting that. At a minimum, we want those two sources working together. So when we then merge this into a dot point draft, have I got an example here? I think I do. Yep, we now have some key ideas that we can use to actually develop our points. Now, when we then look at our sources, we can use those side by side to actually write our paper. So whoever's example I'm using, thank you. Let me just squeeze these together. So these two documents were not done just because I wanted to torture you. They're done so that you can really clearly map out your work, because this is what we need. We need structure because you're trying to write a really complicated argument. So what we can then do is look at, say, for example, our first focus question here, what causes depression in teenagers? And having looked at our, do I have it here? Yep, our focus question, we can see that teens can be affected by depression because of stress at home or school and society's expectations. So we've got a really clear overview. Now, what that means is that we can then use the sentence from the previous one, from the previous document. So, we can use something to that effect. Teenagers are affected by depression because of ... And then we can actually put in this information. So we can say, next sentence, this person could actually use that as their sentence. Maybe stressful issues, including yada, yada, yada. Now, because I've made that sentence, I now need evidence that proves this point. So I need to go over to my sources and I need to actually look at, an anonymous interview who is going to give us this. So hopefully there's a quote. And what I would do is go as an anonymous interviewee stated, and then I would put in the quote. For the time being, I would just do interview 2020, just so when I go to finish off my references properly, I know where I got that from. Then, because I've made one key point and I have one source here for that statement, I now need to find my second source. So here is a survey that is actually supporting this as well. So now I do my linking language. Which is going to give me credibility in my argument. And then